Okay, good morning. I told you guys a couple days ago that I would show you my plan for my sheep this year. And this is my first year doing sheep, being a shepherd. And so I'm writing everything down, I'm keeping notes on everything. But I also wanted to just visualize all the names of my sheep and write down notes on all of them so I can make a plan for what I'm going to do with everybody this year. So I wanted to just go over what my plan is so you guys are aware. Just so you guys know the transparency. I always want you to know what I'm doing. So I have my little cards here organized by who I'm keeping, who I'm selling, and who I'm culling. The word cull is what you use when you're going to send your sheep to the butcher. So I do have 3 different categories here for my sheep, and the first category I'm going to go over is, let's do the keeps. First of all, Sal. You guys know I love Sal. When I got Sal from her last farm and they called her Psycho Sally, I said to myself, she's never going to leave Frenzy Farm. I think she just deserves a nice place where she can have routine and people who appreciate her, and I just love her. She's a beautiful, beautiful sheep. She has a great personality. Been working on her trust, and her fleece is probably one of my best fleeces. It's just incredible. So Sal is definitely a keeper. She was my first sheep to lamb this year. She popped out 2 beautiful lambs without assistance, so she is a proven dam. She had her babies, so I know that she is proven. She was proven when I bought her, but I'm just in love with Sal, so she is definitely staying. Sal's lamb Chipita. So Sal's a Cormo, and her baby is the combination of Sal and Ramtini. That was her mama and her daddy. So Chipita is a ewe lamb. She's a little girl lamb. She's mostly Cormo. Cormo is the type of sheep that I really am enjoying their fleece. It is so incredible, you guys. Like, I can't even describe it. It's like working with butter, like peanut butter. It's so soft. It's so luscious. It's so fine and amazing to work with. So I just love my Cormos. I think I'm going to start leaning that direction. So I'm keeping Chipita. That said, I had plans to sell little Rodrigo because I didn't think I needed that ram. But I've been thinking about it, and because I love his fleece so much, and I love that line so much, I looked it over and I decided that Rodrigo, he's mostly Cormo, he's Sal with Ramtini. Ramtini, you guys know my little ram. He has a little bit of Finn, a little bit of black-faced Leicester, and a little bit of Romney genetics, but he's mostly Cormo. So Rodrigo, I'm going to keep him. That's a change of plans. I was going to sell him, but Rodrigo is a keep. So Sal and Chipita are staying with the girls, and Rodrigo is going to become one of my little rams. Now, I'm not going to breed him with Sal or Chipita because he's related to them. So I have him separated over here to this little grouping. Excuse me. This grouping of girls is also my keepers. I'm going to be keeping Coco, of course. I love Coco, you guys. I think you know. Coco is my best friend. She loves me. She's very trusting. She's such a beautiful sheep. She is a chocolate Cormo, which you don't see very many chocolate Cormos, at least I haven't. Her fleece is like Sal's. It is incredibly fine and luscious and buttery and soft, and it's just so beautiful that I can't sell her, even though she had a hard time lambing this year and I had to assist her. She had Patty Eileen, that one huge lamb. So part of me, I thought about retiring her. I wrote retired dam, ? I thought about maybe not breeding her next year. And then I thought, Rodrigo is going to be smaller than Ramtini was. So I may consider breeding Coco with Rodrigo next year. Or I may, I'm talking to another farm in Lebanon right now, Kerfuffle Fiber Farm, about possibly getting a future mystery ram, a little Cormo ram, a smaller Cormo in the flock, one that's a ram from a line that's had twins and triplets, so that I could try to get Coco to throw some twins or triplets next year and not have such a hard time lambing. One big lamb is hard on a sheep, but if she had twins, it would be so much easier on her. And I would love to get more Patty Eileen's. Oh my God, I love Patty Eileen. So I'm keeping Patty. Coco is a keeper because I love her color, I love her fleece, and I love her personality and her size. I'm just loving the small size of the Cormos. And so Patty is definitely a keeper. She's my little chocolate ewe lamb. She is Coco and Ramtini's daughter, and she's mostly Cormo because her mama is pure Cormo and her dad is Ramtini. It was mostly Cormo with a little bit of Finn, Black-Faced Leicester, and Romney. Okay. Then we have in the middle here 2 of our little mixed meat breed females, the ewe lambs, Rainbow and Lupita. This is Laverne and Shirley's lambs. So Laverne and Shirley are our Icelandic merinos. Let's come back to these 2 actually, you guys. Let's go over here just for a second. Let's talk about Ramtini is up here. Gorgeous fleece, proven sire. He is a Finn, Cormo, Black-Faced Leicester, and Romney. So I'm making decisions about Ramtini, and I think what I'm going to do, you guys, I hate to say it, but I think it's time to shear him, and then I think it's time to make a date with our butcher up the road for Ramtini, because unless I decide to keep him just to breed him again with Sal and Chipita, I would have to have room for 3 rams because I'm keeping Rodrigo and I'm getting my future mystery ram, and then I would have Ramtini, and in a perfect world I'd like to only have 2 rams. So I think what I'm going to do is make a plan to shear Ramtini this month or next because he's getting nice and woolly. And then when his wool, his pelt starts to grow out nice and thick again, we'll make a date for him up the road at Ken's. So I think that's the plan with Ramtini. It might change because I do have quite a connection with him. I love my first ram. He was my first little ram, so it's hard for me to make that decision, but we'll see how it goes. Still got time to think about it. But Ramtini was a great first ram to start with. He had so many beautiful little lambs that he threw. So we had 2 different types of sheep. We had the Cormos over here, Sal and Coco, and Goldie is a Cormo. So I sold Goldie, you guys. You know that Goldie was for sale. She's a proven ewe. She's a great Cormo. She's beautiful in size, in conformation, and in fleece. Her fleece is amazing. She lambed this year unassisted 2 beautiful ewe lambs, which I was actually quite jealous of. I wanted to keep them. But the only issue I had was that I want to breed my sheep, and I want to eventually have a nice proven flock that I can sell breeding stock, and I can register my flock, and I can have really nice Cormos. And Goldie has double teats, and that's just not in the standard of breeding excellence. So that's why I sold Goldie. That was it. She was a really good sheep, but she had double teats, and both of her little ewe lambs came out with double teats. Usually sheep only have 2 teats, but she had 4. It didn't change how she was able to feed her babies. They still were able to nurse off of her just fine. They had no problem at all. So there's nothing wrong with her. It's actually quite common. But just for me as a starting out shepherd, I had to make a decision, and I made the decision to keep the ones that have the best conformation for me as a small flock owner. So Goldie has sold. She's going home on Monday in a couple of days. And then, you guys, I can't believe I'm saying this. Here it comes. You ready? Hold on to your hats. I'm going to sell Laverne and Shirley. I can't believe it. My first sheep. So I started last year, 1 year ago. Went on Craigslist, took my little government stimulus check, bit the bullet, and bought 2 sheep. And my life has not been the same. It's been an amazing, amazing journey. As I've learned a lot this year, Laverne and Shirley are amazing girls, but they are not the girls for me. They have been incredible sheep. They both gave me 2 lambs, so they're both proven dams at this point. They were just sheep when I got them, just ewes, but now they are proven dams. Laverne gave me Barbacoa as well as Rainbow, and Shirley gave us Nyamachoma as well as Lupita. So here's my plan, you guys. What I'm going to do is I think I'm going to sell Laverne and Shirley. The reason for it is they are way bigger than I anticipated when I bought sheep. I didn't know much about Icelandic merino mixes, and when I got these 2 girls, they were right around a year old, and they're huge. They're about 200 pounds, and if you guys know me, I'm 5'3", and when you shear a sheep, you have to flip the sheep on its booty, and it's just been a year of trying to figure out if I can work with my girls, and I've had a lot more success working with my Cormos. They're just smaller and easier for me to work with physically. And Laverne and Shirley, as much as I like them, as much as I love them, their personalities are golden. They're like therapy sheep. They're like dogs that want pets all the time. But when it comes to actually like having to shear them, having to move them around, it is a little bit hard on me physically. So I'm looking to rehome Laverne and Shirley. Maybe there's a nice farm out there with some big, strong farmers who are, you know, looking for 2 big, big girls. They are amazing sheep, and they will just drop those lambs every year, no problem. So I'm not going to have a problem selling them. I am going to keep their 2 ewe lambs to replace them. So I have Rainbow, who I'm going to call Bowie, and Lupita, who I think I'm going to change to Lovey because she just loves me so much. She's my little best friend. So I am going to keep their 2 baby girls because they're going to be similar to their mamas, but smaller and easier for me to handle. Smaller because I bred Laverne and Shirley, those big girls, with my little Ramtini, who's much smaller than them. So Ramtini only weighs about, what does he weigh, about 80 pounds? He looks bigger because he has a lot of wool, but he's only about 80 pounds. So 80-pound ram, 200-pound ewes. They're just massive. So I love them. It's kind of a hard decision to make. I thought about doing therapy animals, therapy programs with them, but I just have too much going on, you guys. I know I call it Frenzy Farm, but it is becoming too much of a frenzy. So I'm trying to rein it in, making decisions, and feeling really good about them. So when I made that choice to sell them, I just felt really good about it. So that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to keep them. Laverne's still nursing, so at the end of April, I'm going to post them for sale, and I won't rehome them until mid-May, when Laverne has finished weaning her 2 lambs. Yeah, and I think I would like to home them together since they're sisters and they've always been together. So that would just be nice for them. Yeah, so that's the plan. One last little thing real quick is, we don't talk about it very much, but I just want to let you guys know the reason that I give my little, 2 of my little lambs have meat names. You've noticed we've got Barbacoa and we've got Nyamachoma, which means roast meat in Swahili. So we have Nyamachoma is Shirley's little ram lamb, and Barbacoa is Laverne's little ram lamb. And those 2 were born with a purpose. They are locker lambs. Laverne and Shirley are my big sheep, and they are a mixed meat breed. They don't have beautiful soft wool like my Cormos. It's not the same type of sheep. These sheep are the type that, like, when you go out to eat and you have delicious roast lamb, this is what you're going to be eating. It's this type of a sheep. So if you've ever had rack of lamb or lamb chops or anything, it's this type of a sheep. It's hard to see a living sheep outside and then think about eating it because it's such a beautiful, soft, woolly creature. But that's where food comes from. It's just a beautiful cycle of deciding who's going to be kept, who's going to be sold, and who's going to have a nice life for about 4 or 5 months. And then one day they get to go for a little trip to freezer camp. Yay! So that's my plan. I think what I'm going to do is send those 3 boys, Ramtini and Barbacoa and Yama, to Ken's this summer. I say to Ken's, it's just a place right up the road. It's just like a little butcher shop, a little abattoir, very small scale. Actually, the guy who sold me my house runs that place or works there. So very small scale, very low key, low stress for the animals. And they don't have to travel more than a mile, actually. It's very, very close. And then what I can do is I can get my future mystery ram, and I can breed him with Sal and Chapita next year. So next year my flock is going to look like this. I'm going to have 2 rams, my future mystery ram, probably going to be a Cormo, and Rodrigo. And then I'll have Sal and Coco, and I'll have Patty Eileen, and I'll have Chapita, and Bowie, and Lovey. And that'll be my flock, you guys. 2 rams, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ewes. Oh, isn't that funny? It's like 1 more ewe than I had this year. Last year I had 1 ram and 5 ewes, and this year I'm gonna do 2 rams and 6 ewes. Always improving. But that's my plan. And thanks for watching. Time to go out, wake up those sheep, Izzy. They're hungry. Speaking of these sheep, they're hungry. Yes, you already had your breakfast. It was delicious. Why won't you use the cat pot